Welcome to That Big HVAC Show, the podcast for property managers, building owners, and building maintenance personnel, getting you the information to benefit your goals while keeping it simple in a big way. This is That Big HVAC Show. Now, your Big HVAC host, Dwayne Anderson.
Happy National HVAC Tech Day. And like last year, we're celebrating by speaking with some real live HVAC technicians. Today, I have 3 guests, and this year's group is unique. How so? Well, at some point in time, we've all worked for the same company. We all lived in the same province. 75% of us now live in a different province, and only one of you have I known since you were a second-year apprentice. So our listeners, you can put that on your big HVAC bingo scorecard. It's my honor to introduce Keith Friman, Travis Evans, and Mike Whiting. Gentlemen, welcome to That Big HVAC Show.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
It's a great privilege to have you here today to be part of National HVAC Day and the celebrations, because, you know, by the time this airs, we'll probably be in the middle of a heat wave and too busy to discuss anything. So if you wouldn't mind maybe just taking a turn introducing yourself and telling us, how long have you been in the HVAC industry? Who's going to start?
I'll go first.
All right.
So my name is Travis Evans. I'm currently the president of Arctic Fox Mechanical. I've been in the industry, I guess, since 2002, roughly, is when I would have started my apprenticeship. I jumped out for a bit. So, I mean, unofficially, I've been in the trade for about 10, 11 years. I did jump out for about 10 years. So just jumping back in now and having fun here on the Lower Mainland.
Thanks, Travis. Keith?
All right. Yeah, my name is Keith. I've been in trade for coming up on 10 years. I did a pre-apprenticeship program in 2013. So been going at it ever since.
Awesome. Mike, I guess that makes you the journeyman.
Well, the old guy anyways. I started right out of high school, and so I've got about, I guess, active in the trade on and off 34 years, and took some breaks twice in between for some post-secondary studies, and came back to it because it seems to be the best place to be.
Now we're all in different regions. Mike, where are you based out of?
I'm out of Lethbridge, and for the company, I look after a region that covers Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, so coast to coast, or coast to coast, border to border in Alberta, and then out halfway towards Kelowna, halfway out that way.
Right. Cool. And Keith?
I am in Metro Vancouver. I live in Abbotsford, so I try to hang out in the valley as much as I can, but.
And your career hasn't always been in the Lower Mainland, has it?
No, it has not. I spent 8 years in Calgary. So when I finished my pre-apprenticeship program, I couldn't find a job in BC anywhere. So I had to pack up and move to Calgary, and liked it there. So it spent 8 years and finally decided to come back.
Okay. Well, I'm very thankful you did, because we work side by side every day. And Travis, yourself?
Yeah, currently on the North Shore in Vancouver here. Hoping to stick somewhere in that area. The bridges in and out of here are notoriously bad at certain times of the day. So I'd like to avoid that as much as possible, but open to, you know, a fairly large radius in the Lower Mainland for whatever works.
Good. Yeah, I know what you mean. I had to go over the Lionsgate Bridge the other day. Oh, yeah. Well, those who are familiar with the Lower Mainland will understand that pain. And Mike, have you always been in Lethbridge in the trade?
No, I started the trade up in Edmonton and working for the same company up there, and then moved around a little bit. I actually worked on the island for a couple of years. Taste tested the Yukon. I've been up to Yellowknife just for a couple work visits, but yeah, mostly Edmonton, Calgary, and now I've been in Lethbridge. I guess it's almost almost 20 years now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, cool. So, we'll maybe start with Keith. What made you get into the trade?
So I got into the trade. I grew up on the north end of the island, so everybody's a logger. I was in a logging camp, and my girlfriend at the time, now wife, was going to school at VIU. So she said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "Well, I'm going to sign up for a trade." And my grades weren't good enough to be a plumber or anything like that. So I said, "What about this trade? All you're going to do is do a test, a mechanical test." I said, "Sure, I can do that test. Let's give it a shot." So I did that test and then took off and have been enjoying my job ever since.
Awesome. Good. Travis, why did you get into the trade?
I guess I have two reasons because I'm jumping back in right now. So the first time I was actually doing sheet metal out of high school. My dad's a sheet metal mechanic. Currently my brother is, my uncles did it, all my cousins, like it's basically a family skill set, I guess. But it didn't really appeal to me. So I liked working with my hands, but I wanted to make a little bit more money. If I'm going to be honest, I was 18 years old. I wanted to have nice things. So I heard that this trade paid very well. That was probably not the right reason to get into it, but looking back, I'm glad that was the reason. I do really love the trade. It's a little more challenging than sheet metal. So I like that element too. Like that was something that was communicated to me at the time. Now, the difference between then and now, I mean, I was a kid back then, I'm 40 years old now. The big thing for me now is social media was really influential in making this decision. A lot of really good mechanics are showcasing their work, and it's really encouraging to see people take pride in their work. I don't want to say again, but the benefits of social media, people are able to showcase this work and show pride in the trade and show pride in their work. And honestly, it really motivated me to come back in and begin this challenge all over again. So yeah, those are my two reasons for getting into the trade.
It's funny you mentioned social media because it has become such a presence. And when I started this podcast and thought I'd throw it up on social media too, on particularly Instagram, the following I've gotten, it wasn't the following I expected I'd have. And then the people I follow as well are all tradespeople and the stuff they do and the great work. So I can totally understand that. And some of them have even become you might say social media famous even from some of the stuff they've done. So that takes us to Mike. Social media wasn't around 34 years ago, Mike. So no. What got you into the trade then?
Well, like so many guys in the trades, it's usually family, right? So my brother was already into the trade. It was a family friend who got him into it. Then I was pulled in because of that. And I think the reason that family gets everyone involved, it's just unbelievable how many people, especially on the refrigeration side of the HVAC trade, that are here because of family or family members is because it, like Travis had said, it's just such a great trade. I mean, you can taste test a lot of different occupations out there, and ultimately it's pretty hard to find one that pays you, compensates you fairly and well, and pays you for your work and rewards you for the quality that you put out. And I think family members are looking out for each other, and they see the opportunities are there. So that's why they push you towards it.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So guys, you've been in the trade, and some of you for a number of years and some of you twice, and some of you worked all over the place. So you must have some great stories to share. I'm sure you do. So let's start with Travis. I know he wants to tell a story. So Travis, what's your best HVAC story?
I'm sure, like Keith and Mike, they have a lot of really great stories. That is the benefit of this trade being so, I guess there's just so much range to the trade. But my story actually involves Dwayne. I don't know if he'll remember this story. This was a long time ago. So we used to work together, and we had to do a pretty a large scale changeout of a bunch of rooftop units at the City Center Mall in downtown Edmonton. So there was a pretty big crane. We had to shut down the whole street. We had to take a big crane. The crane can only be so big, and it couldn't reach all of the locations where we needed to change out these rooftop units. So Dwayne had hired a subcontractor that built a piece of equipment that could lift rooftop units and transport them across the roof. So, but I guess it was proprietary equipment, because Dwayne had showed up that day and he was taking photos just to have like a way to document the work that we do and the intricacies of the things that we do. And, just anything like that you'd want to have a company, in your record books, I guess. And, this machine was pretty unique. It was able to be disassembled and transport rooftop units over gas lines, so that way we could get it over to where the crane could actually reach it. So Dwayne was taking pictures of that, and this guy actually started getting mad because he thought that we were going to copy his equipment and then not hire him ever again, and then use it for our own internal purposes. So I'll never forget it, because he kind of pulled me aside after Dwayne was taking pictures, and he was like, "What is that guy doing? That guy's going to steal all my ideas, and he's gonna take all my work." And I was like, I'm telling you, that is not what he's doing. Like, he's just taking photos for the company, so we can show our clients what we can do. So I don't know if Dwayne has anything to add to that story, because he saw it from a different perspective. But yeah, it's just funny because it was
so I remember the job
around it, but yeah,
I remember the job. It was an amazing job to be part of. I still have the pictures. Shh, don't tell anyone. And Keith knows I'm a big preacher about taking pictures of stuff we do, and I'll show up at job sites where Keith's working. I'll take pictures. But I remember the job. I did not know that he was so sensitive about, because I obviously never thought of it. And here we are, at least 15 years later, and this is the first I've heard of it. Or
surprise!
Now thought of it. So. Great story. And I guarantee you're probably the only one here who can tell that story, or a story about me. Maybe Keith has one, but he won't share that today, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, unless I let him.
Not today.
Unless I go to Mike first, and then he can think of one. So Mike, let's do that. Mike, what's your best HVAC story?
Well, there's like Travis had said, there's such a variety out there that over the years you collect up some that are personal to you, and some are affecting others. I had one maybe 10 years ago now that I was shocked by. I was kind of in a position where I'd only just started hiring the people that we need to work on our crews and stuff. Otherwise, that was done by others and sent to us. So started taking a little more control over who was going to be on our team. And we were in a hiring frenzy, trying to get some people on board. Hired a nice young fellow. He came to us, lots of enthusiasm, really wanted to get into the trade and do more. It was a perfect fitting for our group. And he had been out on the tools with the guys a couple times. And one of the older gentlemen, of course, didn't have quite the same patience as maybe some of the other guys did. And the classic scenario where he was left sitting in the van because he wasn't producing as much as he should have been. So I went and talked to him and worked things out. He was all good. He went out with another guy the next day, and I showed up and again, he's there on the ladder about, 6 feet off the ground, headed up to the roof. And I just kind of come around the corner. I'm watching him for a while, wondering what's going on. And it literally was like 10 minutes. I'm watching him. He's 6 feet off the ground and he hasn't moved. So I went over and talked to him and told him to come down, and we were having a little chat. And I noticed he's just sweating profusely, and it wasn't that hot out. And found out that I forgot to ask him if he was afraid of heights when I hired him for the job. And he was terrified, and he couldn't actually bring himself to climb the ladder. And when I told him, considering our job and the things that we needed to do, it probably wasn't a very good fit. And he was so relieved that he began to cry because he was terrified of quitting any job. So gave him a great reference for the next job that was a better fit for him. But yeah, I've learned to ask a few more questions.
Yeah. Great story. Some of us can overcome our fear of heights. But yeah, I've been in this business for many years myself, and I'm terrified of heights. Again, don't tell anyone. So Keith, what is your best HVAC story?
I got a couple good ones, but I think I'm going to go with a success story because I know I got a few unsuccessful stories as well, right? So think it was on a Friday. I get a call at around 11 saying this place is down. It's a food processing place, so they're losing thousands of dollars a minute. And it was about 2 hours away. So I call my wife and say, yeah, I'm not sure when I'll be home. So there I go, 2 hours. Mine's racing right. So I get there. They let me through security really fast, get me to the unit really fast. There's 4 guys standing there. They've probably been working on it for 2 hours plus. Just so I get there. And luckily, I think I worked on this unit previously. So I had a pretty good idea of what was going on. So I went in there, hit like 2 switches, made a couple adjustments, and boom, unit starts firing. Everybody leaves within 15 minutes. So I think I was home by 5 or 6 that day. So it actually turned out pretty well. But like I say, it's not always, you're not always successful. Sometimes it takes a long time. So that was a good success story.
Good. So you put your Superman cape on and
yeah, once in a while you come out on top like that.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I know I didn't prep you guys for this, but what's the thing you enjoy, the one thing you enjoy the most about working in the HVAC industry? Travis?
Oh, it's definitely the variety, hands down. I mean, there's so many challenges. If you get bored in any one industry, you can walk into the next one and you have the theory, and that's pretty much all you really have. All of the numbers are different. All of the refrigerant properties are different. The subcooling, the superheat, just everything is different. The controls are different. So it's like starting over. You do get the theory, and you have at least a head start. But you can never be, if you want to, you can never be bored in the trade. And I think that's an amazing thing. And then just the way the innovation is coming nowadays, it's ever changing. It's so interesting.
No, for sure. Mike, how about you?
Yeah, I think I'll just add on to what Travis is saying and reiterate that it's really the variety in it. And I'm so amazed by the new guys that are coming into the trade now, because things are changing so quickly, like Travis had said, that the theory is there, it's concrete. We always have that to fall back on, but we need the young guys as much as they need the old guys. And some of these jobs that come around these days, we couldn't do without some of that new knowledge that's coming out of the schools, and just how the curiosity of the people you work with, that really keeps it fresh.
Yeah, no, it definitely keeps you sharp. And yourself, Keith?
Yeah, definitely the variety. One thing I like to say is in HVAC, days might be long, but the weeks go by fast. Like before you know it, you've been somewhere for a year, or you've been doing it for 10 years. So you must mean you like your job and everything's kind of fresh, right? It doesn't kind of drag on. You're doing something different every day, every week, going to different places, sometimes 2, 3, 4 different places a day even, right? Working on different pieces of equipment. So weeks go by pretty quick.
Yeah. No, it's the variety of customers as well as the equipment. I mean, you could be working, in a grocery store, in a production environment. You could be doing, and we've seen some of the most neat behind the scenes things that not everybody gets to see just because we're in the HVAC industry. So, gentlemen, as we know, seems to be a labor shortage out there, and a bunch of different we're experiencing a little bit too in our industry. So why would you encourage someone to get involved in the HVAC industry? And we'll go with the senior person here. Mike, why would you encourage someone to do this?
I guess my perspective is, like I said, I've had opportunities to work in other professions, and I think that's kind of a stretched word. I think everyone who takes their job seriously can be a professional, regardless of what the work is that you do. And you think of I've got 2 girls that are, 18 and 16. And of course, they're looking at what their career lives are going to be like. And male, female, other, whatever comes along these days, the fact that the trade itself provides so many different opportunities. You get to make it whatever you want it to be. And you're a builder, you're part of the community regardless, because you're in all these businesses, and because you're part of their success story. You're very much accountable for your output, and you feel responsible. You feel like you're a contributor. And I think that's really what we're looking for in people or what people are looking for in a career is purpose. And it's impossible not to have it when you get connected with all these different people in your community, trying to help them succeed, and then your coworkers and everyone else. So it really becomes a great environment to maximize your own potential. And you can see it. Someone comes into the trade and they might be geared a different way than another individual, and they take that career in a completely new direction for themselves. It's available to anyone. So I don't know. I fight back on the idea that, there's doctors and lawyers and accountants and business professionals. I think everyone is a builder, and we all just want to contribute to our societies the best that we can. And the trade allows you to actually physically do that. And maybe sometimes in the schools we promote the getting the piece of paper and pushing that across the desk more so. And I think the trades, especially this one, give you so many opportunities for variety and just a great career.
Right. And just to touch on what you said about contributing to the community by what you do, you're really providing worthwhile work. And I mean, let's face it, through the pandemic, our trade was part of that essential workers. So, I mean, it is really valuable. And if you have that, find an individual who has that kind of passion, that'd be great to put into the trades. So somebody who's come back into the trade, Travis, why would you encourage someone to get back into it or get into it?
I think Mike and Keith, and we've all kind of hit on a lot of different elements. I know. So one of the things that I was exposed to when I jumped out was I got to work with a lot of engineers, mechanical engineers specifically. And there's elements to engineering that where there's a lot of overlap in what we do. And I feel like, one of the drawbacks of being an engineer specifically is you don't really get to work with your hands. There's a lot of theory that's based, there's a lot of math work, and really what you don't get to do is you don't really actually get to experiment with the theory. And what I find with this trade is I find that it's extremely challenging in the sense that if you want it to be challenging, it can be. There's a lot of overlap with engineering. So if you don't want to go that direction and do the schooling, but you want to have the same challenges, you want to work with your hands, this is such a great trade for that. You can be a challenge as much as you want to be. And I think that's one of the nice things about the trade is it's not just only variety, but also you get to dictate how much you want to be challenged. And I can't think of another trade that allows that. So for me, I think of people that want a fulfilling career, and if it's, let's say that it's installations and you want it to look good, that's one thing. If you want to do troubleshooting because you want to work with those skills, that's another one. If you want conflict management with customers, there's another skill. Yeah. But the thing is that there's just there's really no limit to what you want out of the trade. And I think if you tell that to somebody, not only that, it's also an essential service. I don't see a future right now where the AI is going to take over. So, I don't know. It's like, where do I stop? There's so many reasons why I just can't even express all of them.
Right. Great. No, those are great reasons. So Keith, why would you encourage somebody to get into the trade?
You can definitely get out whatever you want out of this trade. Like, I know for myself, out of 10 years, went through in Calgary, they had the oil prices drop, and then we had the pandemic. I've missed one day of work in 10 years. That's it. So there's obviously the financial aspect of it, but yeah, you get a sense of fulfillment when you're going around doing service. I've mainly done service. So you go around, you get a service call, you fix it, your days go by fast, and you meet a lot of people, and usually people are happy to see you, or happy to see you leave, at least if you fixed it. And just days go by fast, and a lot of days I'm happy to go to work. I'm also happy to come home. So
yep. No, you're right. So I think we covered a lot of good reasons to be in this industry. Your sense of community, the sense of testing theory, the variety of work. And, like you said, you're happy to go to work because you've got a job. You don't have to worry about pandemics or anything else. You missed one day of work in 10 years and you come home happy. So there's a lot of great reasons to be involved in the HVAC industry. So that's really wild. It's one of those things too. No one really thinks about HVAC until it doesn't work. And Like I said, by the time this airs, we'll probably be in the middle of a heat wave and everybody be clamoring for it and realizing how valuable an HVAC technician is. So I want to thank you guys for joining me on the podcast today and helping celebrate National HVAC Tech Day. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's great.
Thanks for having me.
Right.
Thank you.
If you have any questions about this topic, please send an email to thatbighvacshow@gmail.com. You can connect with the show on social media too. Search @thatbighvacshow on Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube.
Oh, just one more thing, guys. What is your favorite tool or brand of tools? Mike?
For me personally, it's definitely the small handheld impact that you can carry in your pouch. Doesn't add a lot of weight. Saves you turning all those screws.
All right. And Keith?
I like my Testo Smart Probes. I mean, it's a lot easier than carrying a set of gauges up to the roof, and it does everything on your phone and just makes everything nice and user friendly.
Great. And Travis?
I think it's my multimeter. And I think the reason why is because I know if I'm taking that out that that it's going to be a challenge. Most often there's a reason why I'm pulling it out, and I don't know that reason until I pull it out. So I would say definitely multimeter.